Welcome to Page to Screen, the podcast where Nikki and Christina discuss books that were turned into movies and films that were adapted from books. As always, we do remind you that spoilers lay ahead. Now, we invite you to decide with us the age-old question, which is better, the book or the movie?
Welcome back, Page to Screen listeners. It's a new year, and it's time to get back into the groove. See what I did there.
See what you did there.
This week, we are taking a wonderful trip, which would be perfect for me because I have no vacation time, and it's freezing in New York. And joining, as always, is my favorite travel companion, Christina.
Nikki, how are you?
Dreaming of a Jamaican vacation.
I know. Just to get the audience listeners up to date, we did do another Terry McMillan book.
Yes.
The last one that we did was Waiting to Exhale last year. So it was fun to come back to her style of writing. This is the 1996 novel, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, which finds Stella overworked, overthinking, and needing to do something with her life other than her job and raise her son, and she ends up in Jamaica. And I thought, holy cow, how perfect is this for you and I right now?
Yeah. I was mad reading this book because, she's talking about all these cool locations. She's riding riding that horse wasn't the greatest moment for Stella, but she's riding a horse through, trees and stuff, and she's complaining about how hot it was. I can tell you right now, as we're recording this, with wind chill, it is -2 in New York City, so
Holy shit.
I will ride a horse through whatever pile of crap you want me to. I'm freezing. It was a hard book for me to read, because I just wanted to be there. I want to be in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I'm going to start crying.
Out of the gate, the way that in the book when she is thinking and the way that she talks, it's all very stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
So there are full pages that are just one sentence. And it's just because it just keeps going and going with her thoughts jumping from one thing to the next. And that's exactly how I think both of our brains work.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? I wanted to go back and see Waiting to Exhale. I don't believe the writing style is the same.
It is not. It's not. Because I did look, and it's not the same. And I thought that was so cool because there was a little bit of, because the way that McMillan writes, I think, is really fun. That she writes the way we talk. I say a lot. I say a lot of things that people perceive as being that kind of valley girl, not speaking the best, but that's the way she writes, and it feels very familiar, and it's nice to hear your own voice, even though it's judged by others. And she does do a lot of those run-on sentences that I just think is so fitting for someone who needs a break.
Yeah. And it's interesting because at the very front of the book, I noticed that the run-on sentences are a lot longer than they are towards the end, so you're kind of in it with Stella being so in her head and so busy and not being able to take a break. And then towards the end of the book, it's short conversations, short sentences. And I was like, oh, look at you. I see what you did there. I get it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. And I think the only book that we've done to this point that is similar, where the actual writing style changes with the person who's going through it, is Fight Club. Fight Club has those moments where the narrator's brain is changing the style of the writing. So this was really cool because it just shows how chaotic a brain is when it needs a break, and then how everything starts to calm down, and it's a little bit more thought out and sectioned and compartmentalized near the end.
Yeah. And I felt myself kind of relating a lot to Stella. I feel like a lot of people can right now, just being overworked, totally tired, and having kind of Stella has the same kind of guilt that I have about taking time off.
I know. She says that. She says that she doesn't feel like she has deserved a time off, and that's the way that I feel. I feel like if I am in my house and I see that there's laundry to do, I have not worked enough to reward myself with sitting down and watching something or just doing something for myself until that's done, which is a horrible way to think.
Yeah. I put everything that I want to do as a reward.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's mentally draining on you.
Yeah.
because then it's kind of like when you go on like an extreme diet and you're like, well, you can't have ice cream, you can't have pizza, you can't have any of this stuff. And then it's all you want. Like all the other food that you know is good for you, you're like, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
Even though like, and then when you're off the diet, you're like, oh, a salad would be great. You know? It's like I felt for Stella.
Yeah, she's in a real Emperor Kuzco situation. She has misplaced her groove.
Yeah.
It cannot be found. We don't know where it's at. And I like that the groove is never defined because it would seem at the beginning that she has all of the groove.
Yeah.
She's got a good son. She is very attractive. She's super fit. She takes care of herself. She exercises. She's got this great job. She has a nice house. All of these things going for her. And yet there's something that's missing. And she is not really happy, and she's not unhappy because of anything in particular. Like, she knows that she's missing something in her love life, and she recognizes that, but it's really more of she hasn't taken any time for herself.
Yeah. I feel like while the groove is an overarching, idea, I feel like each new chapter has a different groove to it that Stella needs to define for herself.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because, like, at the beginning you find, like, Stella is in a work groove that just feels like it's going nowhere. And the groove that she has to find is how to relax. So she goes to Jamaica, And then each chapter after that, there's something different. Like, there's a part where she finally stands up to her crappy sister, Angela. And that's the groove she needs to find.
Angela can eat my butt.
I hate her so much.
I don't like Angela.
Every time she showed up, I wrote in my notes, I hate Angela. I must have written that 100 times. Angela is the most unsupportive family member. And she's just mean and bitter. And it's like, listen, like Cher said, Mama, I am a rich man. Listen, Stella didn't need a man at all, period, exclamation point, done. She did not need him. And Angela to be all like, well, who's going to help you pay your bills? She's rich.
I'll pay my bills.
Stella's got 3 cars, a house in Lake Tahoe, and apparently from how she described the stocks that she has, does she have stock in Starbucks?
She just might. I think
she said something
Stella
about a coffee
in a few years is a multi-billionaire.
Yeah, I think Stella's good, Angela. Like, Stella needs us to hang around with her when she goes to talk to Angela. Like,
did you find, by the way, it's funny because last year we wanted to start off the year with some sort of like positive energy, and we picked Eat, Pray, Love.
We screwed up last year.
Which was a giant fucking turd of a mistake.
Yeah.
And then this year we kind of wanted to get that same energy, and we picked How Stella Got Her Groove Back. There are so many similarities between this and Eat, Pray, Love, because even like when you were just talking about how she finds things in future chapters, there's a moment where she says that she wants to pray, and she like speaks about God when she's in Jamaica. And I just thought it was funny because she does kind of do the Eat, Pray, Love steps in this, but it's so much more genuine feeling and more relatable and realistic. And I don't know, there's a fearlessness about Stella when she just decides to go to Jamaica, and she goes there alone. And people think that she's crazy. And even like with her son, because she's got the son with her ex-husband, she's kind of guilted for leaving her son, and she's like, well, too fucking bad, I'm going to Jamaica.
Yeah. Well, her son's with his father.
Yeah, he's good.
So it's not like she's actually leaving him. When Angela was saying all that stuff, it's like, Angela, shut up. But to your point about Eat, Pray, Love, no, it does. This is Stella's Eat, Pray, Love journey is what, a normal person's Eat, Pray, Love journey would be. No one's going to go to an ashram in India and try to be a yogi. Like, running on the beach for Stella is that kind of release, And she gets to do that. Like, diving into the cold water first thing in the morning in her running clothes. Like, that is her ashram in India.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And It is a lot more realistic, and there's still a sense of privilege because Stella does have so much money, so she does have the wealth to get herself to Jamaica, and then even later on when she ends up getting booted from her job, it's not too much of a stress to her. And in a way I thought, like, well, this book is a little easy, you know. She's a very attractive 40-year-old. She's not just a, like, quote
and
unquote
she lets
average
you know
40-year-old.
it a lot.
Yeah, she's hot as hell. She's got lots of money. So that makes a lot of normal people's problems not a problem. But this is also written from a semi-autobiographical point of view because McMillan did.
Yeah.
She was an attractive 40-year-old and she did have money and she did have this kind of experience. So I can't really knock it for that reason because I can't say it's not realistic when this really did happen.
I think it's just that's when Stella leaves Jamaica and she starts talking about, like, after her she gets let go from her job after she comes back from Jamaica. And that's when I started to feel kind of a disconnect with Stella when she's talking about the house and the money and how well off she's going to be for a set period of time. But it's not like a bragging thing that Stella does.
No, yeah.
She brags more about her hot bod.
She does.
Than about anything else. And that was something else. Stella is extremely negative to the bodies of other people.
And again, this was in Waiting to Exhale.
Yeah.
This is a Terry McMillan thing. There is definitely some body shaming because, and part of it I thought was kind of funny that when she gets there, she's just talking about all these, like, overweight old white people. And it made me laugh because when I think about going to the poolside, like, that is kind of an aspect there, but she goes, like, so heavily into it and she's constantly, like, talking about it that it did make me feel a little uncomfortable.
The part that made me uncomfortable was her at the nude beach.
Yeah.
And there's this line in the book where she's, like, about to go into the water and she turns around and she's literally talking trash about all the people at the beach. All these people with their wives with their fat their fat titties hanging out, and how all the men at the beach are wishing they could be with me. It's like, okay, Stella, hold on.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. You're boosting your ego, and that's great. Everyone should have the opportunity to do that, but also, like, you don't have to, like we learned in Mean Girls, you're not going to get ahead by tearing someone else down.
Right.
Like, so
yeah, it's one thing to celebrate the fact that she is 40 and she has this amazing body, and she does say that she works at it. Yeah. And I think she even doesn't she refer to it as, like, the E word exercise. Yeah, like the E word that no woman wants to talk about. Yeah. So it's fine for her to congratulate herself, but the way she talks about other people is a little uncomfortable. And although I did find it very interesting when she is talking about going to the pool at the beginning, because the way she explains it is that she feels uncomfortable going to the pool, which I think all women feel, because in one sense you want to look good, you want to look cute, you want to go to the pool and feel confident, but you don't want to be objectified. Yeah. Like, you either want to go to the pool with a big hat and a book and nobody sees you, or you want to go to the pool looking super cute, but you don't want to be objectified or have gross people just staring at you if you do look cute. But she has the extra component of being a black woman, and she makes a comment of knowing what these white guys did to her ancestors and not wanting them to get the privilege of looking at her now. And I was like, holy shit, this is the type of thing that as a white woman, like, I have problems going to the pool, but I do not have the same problems as a black woman or a woman of color going to the pool. Like, that's something I don't have to deal with. I was like, holy shit, that's pretty deep.
Well, and to that point about her going to the pool, it's funny because the first time she goes to the pool, actually the first time she does everything at the resort, she is super overanalyzing everything she's wearing. She's picking out tops and bottoms, and she's like, is this too matchy, this thing, that thing? But then by the end of her stay in Jamaica, after she meets Winston, she just doesn't care. No. She's just doing whatever she wants, and I found that to be I think it's such a liberating way to see Stella. That, I mean, yeah, she's still, concerned about, like, other people's body weight and all of that stuff and her age against Winston's, but after she hangs out with Winston, she is literally, that's like second act starts here. She's a completely different character in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all you need is the validation of one person to know that you are worthy, I guess. I mean, it didn't even have to be a man who, I feel like in Stella's life, because she started talking to those other women too at the resort. And I think all women can agree that once you have a really good circle around you who's going to boost your ego, everything feels a lot easier. You're not thinking so hard.
Yeah, and because I do really like the fact that she went to Jamaica on her own.
Yeah.
But when she is speaking to other people, between Winston and, well, not Angela, but some of the other women, it was nice because I really did enjoy that in Waiting to Exhale. I loved the camaraderie and the sisterhood feeling of, these women, and having women talk, like really talk about things and talk about more than just guys. They're talking about relationships, sure, and having a man, yes, but that's not the only thing that they talk about. So it's just like so refreshing to get that. And I was glad that there were moments of that in this book too.
Yeah. Because it's necessary. I feel like
it is.
It's very hard to find books where there is a strong female friendship, where they're not fighting over something that they both want. And I think McMillan does a good job of giving us realistic female friendships. Mm-hmm. And even when you read about female friendships in other books, they're definitely not talking about the same sort of subject matter that McMillan is putting forth. Like McMillan, especially when you go back to Waiting to Exhale, they're talking about, sleeping with guys and, what the future is going to be like for all of them as strong, independent women. Whereas if you read another book where there's a female friendship, it's usually like Sex in the City. Here's a couple of girls hanging out, drinking Cosmos. It's like, oh, no.
Well, one that like jumps out to me in my mind at the moment is a book that I read like 2.5 years ago. It's the Final Girls book by, was it?
Yes.
Riley Sager. And in that one, because I think that's a guy, it's funny because there are two female characters that become friends. And when they get on the phone and they're talking, it's like, hey girl, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey girl, what's going on with you? And they're like talking, I'm like, who talks like that? Like nobody talks like this. And the way that they talk, they only talk about things to move the plot along, and that's it. They like don't have any genuine conversations at all, and it just, you get that so often where you get women talking the way people think that women talk to each other, but that's not how we talk.
But McMillan gets it, because that's where some of these run-on sentences in the book really paid off. Is like she's on the phone with her sister Vanessa. And she's telling Vanessa, Vanessa calls and is like, did you die? It's like, that's how a phone call starts. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to go on a vacation and I didn't hear from you, because I talk to you all the time. All the time. If you went on a vacation, I didn't hear from you, first of all, I would send you 15 TikToks and I'd be like, how's your trip? Just waiting for something, Like, you don't call someone and go, hey, how are you doing? You've been in Jamaica for like 4 days. Tell me about it. No, of course, your good friends, your family, they're all going to be like, are you dead?
Yeah.
You couldn't reach out to me, But I guess it's time for us to talk about Winston.
Winston. I thought Winston was so cute, and I don't want to make this all about me, but let's talk about me for a second.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you, as I was reading this, I was like, Christina's going to have a lot to say about this relationship, because I don't have much to say. Jesse's a year younger than me, but I was like, this is definitely in Christina's wheelhouse.
Well, my husband and I do have an age difference. It's not 20 years, but it's 14 years. But the thing that got me was just having a relationship on vacation and having it being in this tight timeline, and then the whole time thinking like, oh, you really like this person, but you're not too sure if it's going to become a thing. And then they split, but then they get back together, and then it's real. It's like a real relationship. And that, it made me think so much of when my husband Carlos and I got together, that And the circumstances were very different, but we were long distance when we actually got together. And there was still that moment that we think like, okay, well, maybe this is just an affair and like, that's it. But then it's the, hey, I miss you. And, and then it becomes like a thing. And it's so cute. So I was like reading it and it was making me very happy. And I was getting kind of giddy about the two of them. And the whole time I felt like Stella, where she is preparing for the other shoe to drop. She's preparing for him to say, you know, basically drop her and it's a one night stand. And she's expecting it the whole time and it doesn't happen. And I just felt like that because as the reader, I was thinking, oh my God, when's it going to come out that he's actually married or something, right? Because that's how I thought too. Like I was in that this is too good to be true kind of mentality, which is really sad. It means that something got you to that point of thinking it's too good to be true, but it ends up being real. It's so cute.
I mean, you and I have a past with other people who if we had met them on vacation, the other shoe would have dropped, you know?
There would have been two shoes.
It would have been a Payless shoe store. It would have been a massacre of shoes. But I also think that because we read Waiting to Exhale, and the men in that book, a lot of the men in that book were just awful men. I think that I was waiting for something to come out about Winston. Or
when's Winston going to steal her wallet and sell drugs?
Yeah, or Winston, like when Winston was like, I have to go to work, you know. I thought Winston was never going to come back. Because then we're introduced to other men in Stella's life. And I was under the impression that it was going to be like, Winston was going to be the guy that reminds her of who she is. And she would just thank him moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's how I thought it was going to go. And when it didn't go that way, I was like, oh, okay, this is new territory. Like, you don't read about stuff like that.
No, and I think just like for context purposes and putting it all together, I'll go ahead and say how it ends, which is that the whole time she is talking shit about marriage, and there's one point like mid-book where she just straight up says like, I'm never getting married again, and I don't believe in it. And it ends with he proposes, and after multiple times asking her, she says okay, which is cute because it's a callback to when he says that he wants to sleep with her and she says okay, which is just a funny way to answer someone. But they do end up getting engaged at the end.
I didn't think that was going to happen at all.
Me neither.
Especially after she visits her artist friend.
I thought
her and Winston weren't going to hit it off when he came to America, and that she was going to end up with that artist friend's friend, the guy.
I too thought that, to the point where I was watching the movie and I almost thought that they would change the ending of the movie. Yeah. And Carlos actually asked, oh, does she end up with that guy? And I said, well, she's not supposed to. But in my head, I thought maybe like she will in the movie, but no, she doesn't.
Yeah, it was like I was just waiting for it. But I mean, honestly, the ending to the book, I didn't hate it, but I felt like it might have been too clean.
Okay, I agree. Okay. I thought it was a little bit too clean. I thought that, and this is where I thought like her having money and not worrying about losing her job, I thought this is too easy. There's no real problem that she has except for her own mind. And then the ending I thought was really easy, but then I watched an interview that she did on it was a Charlie Rose interview. I don't know why that's making me laugh.
What were you doing watching Charlie Rose, Christina?
It was a Charlie Rose interview with McMillan right when the movie came out, and she said she doesn't care about plot, and she doesn't write she doesn't write plot-driven stories. She writes character-driven stories. I thought that's interesting because I think that Waiting to Exhale had a similar problem with the ending that we thought was fixed in the movie, but
oh, it's definitely fixed in the movie when they're all together at the end singing. Love it.
I love that part. But I think that when you look at her books, to take it from a character point of view makes way more sense. Yeah. And I don't have the same problem of it's too clean, because the plot here, it's not about anything other than her getting her groove back. Yeah. We've lost it. We have to find it. And at the end, she has it.
But I think for me, the thing that made it too clean, 100% was she has overanalyzed so much in the book. You know, she's 42. Winston's not yet 21. He's a chef at a hotel in Jamaica. He's not even a chef. He's training to be a chef because he loves the culinary arts and it's like in his blood and he wants to do it. And then, you know, he gets to America and the whole time everyone's like, well, how long is he staying? What is he doing? Blah, blah, blah. And they start to fight. You know, they start to have little tiffs and it's all in her head, really. She's bringing it all up because she knows that he's supposed to be leaving soon. Oh, because he was only supposed to be there for like 3 weeks. She knows it's supposed to end soon. But even when they're in the hammock and they're discussing all those little bits, for someone who's been so analytical about every other moment in this book, I found it hard for her to not, in that moment while she's thinking about things, I just wish there was a line in there somewhere where Stella's just like, what's he going to do for work? How is he, you know, going to support himself? Can he get a green card? How's he going to get to stay with a work visa? And then have her be like, none of that matters.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it to be a stronger reaction to loving him, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if that had been in there, and, like, I'm not going to rewrite McMillan's book. It's like, I'm just saying, like, if there had been one extra line where Stella was basically like, I don't care about all of that other stuff because what matters to me now is I have this man, you know, I have my groove, you know? I think that would have, I think it would have dirtied up the ending a little bit more for me and like made it the perfect, you know, put a bow on it, it's done situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just me. I don't want to be too nitpicky.
No, I mean, I do think, when do you want to start talking about Terry McMillan's real life?
Should we wait for that after we talk about the movie?
I don't know. It's kind of hard because part of like some of the flaws I think might be just because she was someone who was in love and she replicated that from her own experience. So sometimes when you're in love, you kind of
I think we should definitely talk about it after we talk about the movie because the movie changed a lot.
It's weird. The movie's weird.
Yeah. I'm going to say right now, because I know we ask it all the time, I didn't like the movie.
Oh, thank God. I didn't either.
God. Okay, great. That's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I was so worried going into this. I was like, what if Christina loved the movie and I'm just an awful person?
Oh, I feel so much better. I didn't like the movie either, and I was fairly hyped for it because I love Angela Basset, and I still do. She's a fucking queen.
Gorgeous in this film. You know who could pull off being an Angela Bassett in the future is Zendaya. There is a part at the end of the movie when they're at that
Zendaya?
barbecue.
Oh my God, I just got chills.
There's a part at the end of the movie when they're at the family barbecue and Angela Bassett looks to the left and I was like, oh my God, is that Zendaya? It's like, I got very excited. It was like, oh my God, we're going to remake this movie with Zendaya in the future. I can feel it.
Well, right now, I was about to say something real creepy. I don't want to say it anymore. I was just going to say, right now, a baby has to be born to play the 20-year-old in 20 years when Zendaya
That is so creepy. Well, no,
it doesn't have to be 20
because Taye Diggs was closer to the age Stella's supposed to be than to the age Winston Shakespeare is supposed to be. Oh, yeah, spoiler alert, people. His last name's Shakespeare.
Yeah, so we are, just to drop the context, we are going to the How Stella Got Her Groove Back 1998 movie, which was actually co-written by Terry McMillan, starring Angela Basset, Taye Diggs, Whoopi Goldberg, Regina King, who I didn't know was in the movie, and I was so happy
she was good. She was so funny. She was so funny as Vanessa.
Yeah, and
I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg for a minute because when I have seen the movie poster for How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I had seen the book cover that was based off of the movie poster. You know, I had seen all of those things. So I knew Whoopi Goldberg was in it. And I was like, is Whoopi playing one of her sisters? Because the character that Whoopi plays in the movie is actually already dead by the time the book starts. So when the movie started and she was calling her friend at the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, this is a callback to in the book where she keeps saying like, oh, I just wish I could pick up the phone and call her. And she would tell me what to do. I did not full on expect that Whoopi Goldberg's character was alive.
I didn't either. And when she showed up, I was like, that bitch is supposed to be dead.
Until they got to the hotel and were talking to those two creepy guys, I was 100% like, is this a ghost? Is Whoopi Goldberg now the ghost? Like, is she talking to her dead friend? Like, I'm so confused.
Carlos made a joke where he just saw Whoopi Goldberg and he said, oh, is this the movie where she, like, kisses Demi Moore or something? And I said, no, but she is dead. And he looked at me like, what the fuck did you just say?
I kept waiting for her to be like, Stella, you in danger, girl.
I have really mixed feelings about it because I feel like for a movie, you get so much more with Stella having someone else to talk to because so much of the book is just in her head. So it's really hard to tell that on screen. So you kind of do need her to have a bouncing board to say things off of. But I really hate the addition of the friend going with her because it kind of ruins the independence that Stella has in going to Jamaica on her own that I think is really important for her as a character. But it's also one of the reasons why Winston Shakespeare falls in love with her.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say about the movie is that I think the reason I didn't like it is Stella going on a vacation, anybody going on a vacation by themselves, especially to a foreign country, is such a power move. And by having her go with a friend, you're taking away, Hollywood took away a lot of Stella's oomph by making it now a friend trip. And I feel like with the film, especially, you know, you add in the friend and there's some kind of conflict a little bit there when they're in Jamaica because her friend's kind of like, girl, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And it just felt like they were trying to give Stella more issues to deal with rather than let Stella, like, because they made her more confused about everything by
they
adding
definitely
more
made her
in.
more confused about everything. And I even wrote down, it was a note, hold on, what did I say? Wait, I said I wanted more problems in the book and I got that in the movie and I don't like it.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know, the conflicts that they added in the movie feel kind of forced, like even when, because Whoopi Goldberg still dies.
Yeah.
And which I think that, by the way, her performance is pretty good. Like, I liked her in the
Whoopi Goldberg
movie, but
is amazing. Like, when that scene when they're about to go running.
Yes.
That's been me every day. I know I'm supposed to do it, but I'm like, bye. Like,
well, and then I like when she's talking to Stella and Stella says something like, oh, what am I supposed to do with a 21-year-old boy? And she says, fuck him. Yeah.
She's like, do the Humpty Hump. I was like, yeah.
No, but when Whoopi Goldberg does die, and I thought that her in the hospital, her acting was stellar, but when she does get deceased, it just felt like all of the emotions at her funeral were so unearned. Yeah. It reminded me of when What's-His-Face dies in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Like, it's just like, am I supposed to care about this character? Because even though I kind of do, I don't really feel the weight of their death at all. And if you're going to add in more conflicts into a movie, they need to be earned. They need to be well laid out. And I didn't think it was here.
Yeah, I think the problem is because this character wasn't fleshed out in the book, we really didn't have a lot of ties to her in the movie except for that first trip to Jamaica. So we don't understand, like, why is she hiding her sickness from Stella? What happened? Why aren't they talking every day? You know, a best friend would know when their best friend is sick. A best friend would know when something's wrong. Yeah, like, even if she was strong, like, trying to be strong in the hospital and not saying anything, you know, there's still some slip-ups, some signs. Stella's not so self-centered that she wouldn't notice if something was going on. Like, she even says,
that's 100% right.
She even says, like, I haven't heard from you in days. Where you been, girl? And, you know, her friend's in the hospital. Whoopi's like, you know, just out. It's like, you can ask more questions, Stella. Like, there's more to it. I felt like they they gave us an extra character to add more conflict, but they didn't want to give that character a life, so they just left it where it was.
Yeah, and when you come from a McMillan book, which is so character driven, and I think the characters, you know them.
Yeah.
The minute they start talking, it just feels very like I know this person because this person is in my life. Like whether it's the negative Nancy or a really good friend, you just know them. And in the movie, you don't get that same feeling. There's not that boom, I get this character, I get their friendship. And that is something that I think that they did better. And I'm sorry, I keep talking about Waiting to Exhale, but I almost feel like this is just a companion piece.
I think it is.
This really feels like they're kind of hand in hand.
Yeah. It's like the continuing adventures.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I feel like they all live in the same world. Like, I feel like the characters from Waiting to Exhale could have been on that same vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been... Oh, my God. Could you imagine?
Oh, my God. Stop it.
God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Someone called me. Oh, my God. Someone in Hollywood's going to put these two films together.
I also think that... I don't know. There is some magic and chemistry between Angela Basset and Taye Diggs.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're beautiful together.
I was about to say beautiful. They're just so beautiful to look at. You
can't stop watching them. I don't know what witchcraft, like what spell was put on these two gorgeous individuals, but my God, I thought like this is one of those things where the two beautiful people should never be in the same movie together. It's not fair to the rest of us, okay? It is just not fair. Stella comes out of the water in that two-piece where it's like off the shoulder and black, and I was like, done. I'm done. I'll never just start hacking pieces off my body because I'm never gonna top that. I'm never wearing a bathing suit again after seeing this movie.
And it's like in other movies we've talked about, when she wears that dress, or when he's in that, but with those two, it's just their bodies. Yeah. It doesn't even matter what they're wearing, because in one minute she might be in like this really gorgeous negligee, and then the next she's in this like ugly 90s hot orange top with just jeans. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what she's wearing. They both just look so... And he's in these like big baggy shirts and these stupid shorts half the time. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. They are gorgeous. They could literally be wearing trash, and I'd be like, Christina, did you see that scene where she was wearing that trash bag? Gorgeous. Like, one of my favorite outfits is when Stella goes back to Jamaica with her son, and they're standing by the pool, and it was that purple... like crop top bathing suit thing with the long skirt when Winston dives into the pool, and I was like, oh my God, I need this outfit.
That part is funny too, because you see him and he's just so likable the whole movie up to that point, and then when he is really good with the kids and he jumps in the pool and he starts playing Marco Polo, and you just see her look at him like, he's good with kids too, damn it.
Yeah. She's like, oh man, now I'm stuck.
And now I'm stuck.
Reading about the locations in the book is one thing, but to see them on your TV screen is something else. I have to go to Jamaica. Christina, it looked so gorgeous. I don't know where they filmed at, but I have to go there now. I am freezing. I'm so cold in New York. Someone take me to Jamaica. When is COVID going to be over? I want to go to Jamaica.
And maybe you want like jerk chicken too, because he cooks a lot, when he moves back to not moves back, but when he visits her in America, he's cooking all the time, and I just wanted to eat what he's cooking.
Yeah. That was the other thing that was so... Honestly, the stuff in Jamaica is kind of like the same as in the book. It's everything after that first trip to Jamaica, where everything from the book goes off the rails in the movie. Because, in the book, she's like buying him things and shipping him things, and they have this beautiful, drawn out, long distance relationship thing. She's constantly talking to Quincy about like how she feels about him and how he would feel. Like, they have this really good bond as a mother and son. And none of that is in the movie.
Yeah.
And it was upsetting to me because when, when Quincy first met Winston in the book, it was almost like there was a great connection, an instant bond. When he meets him in the movie, he's kind of like, hold up, like he takes a pause, and I was like, oh, this is a new way to approach it. I mean...
Yeah, and the movie is not short. The movie is 2.5 hours long, which I think is too long. I think the movie is at least 20 to 30 minutes over. And it's weird because it's 20 to 30 minutes over, and at one point I paused it to make tea. I don't know why I included that description. You didn't need to know why I paused the movie. It was English breakfast tea. No, so I paused the movie and I still had 45 minutes left. And I thought, okay, 45 minutes, so we're going to get into more of that. And then we didn't. And in adding in the Whoopi Goldberg stuff, and then moving some stuff around in the movie that isn't really right with the book, you lose the Quincy stuff, which sucks, because I think even the actor was a really cute kid actor that they got in the movie. And there's just like that one scene when they have breakfast, which is almost the same breakfast that they even have in the book. In the book, I think it's like grits, biscuits, and melon. Yeah. And in the breakfast in the movie, it was grits, pancakes, and fruit. And they don't eat any of it. And
I would have.
I thought, okay, now we're going to start getting some Quincy scenes, but you don't.
Yeah. I was upset about that because their bond in the book, I thought, was so well done. I have no critiques.
He's a main character.
Yeah. And when she comes back from Jamaica, it's like their roles really change. He becomes the parent to her and is giving his approval to Quincy. He loves Quincy.
He loves
Winston.
You got me doing it too.
Quincy loves Winston in the book from the get-go. Like, he knows that his mom is doing her thing, getting her groove back, and he has no issues with this. He's just like, you do you, whatever makes you happy. And he's so excited that his mom doesn't have a job anymore. And, like, he is pumped about all this stuff. He wants to go to Jamaica. He wants to meet Winston. Like, it is gorgeous. And then you get to the movie and it's like, oh, no. Why'd you guys... why can't this young boy, support his mom? What does Hollywood have against that? Like, it didn't make any sense to me that they would... write out so much of him. I mean, and then you get a whole scene in the movie that blew my mind. And that was, what was it, like a weird parent-teacher conference situation?
Yeah.
And they go out to the parking lot, and Winston yells at Quincy.
I hated that.
I hated it too. It came out of nowhere. It didn't need to be there, and I couldn't figure out why it was there. I was upset by it.
Yeah, the only part of that scene that I had a positive reaction to is just when she says, "Don't speak to my son like that," and then Quincy goes, "Yeah," and then she goes, "Shut up, Quincy."
Yeah.
Because I thought that was just funny. It made me laugh. But aside from that one part that made me laugh, I hated that, and I thought it was so dumb, and I thought with Winston having to prove himself, you already have enough on his side as feeling like he's not good enough. You don't really need to make him a bad guy to one of the only characters that is consistently on his side throughout the book, when you've got Angela and even Stella being hesitant towards the relationship, and then you give them a rift. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's where I was definitely like, I really... am not enjoying this film. Like, that it's that all goes back to my comment earlier where they tried to give Stella more issues to deal with, because like you said in the book, Stella really doesn't have any issues. Like, she has no problems. She's a rich person who really doesn't have to worry about anything. Her biggest worry is, how will people perceive me in my 40s dating someone in his 20s? And that, I get it. That is not a strong enough problem to have in a film. But if you had just focused on if you had taken that and had Stella focus on that, and then have Winston come to America and focus on how to be perceived in America, that's it. There are your two problems. You didn't need all the other stuff.
Poor Winston. Think about this one. So he is fresh to America, and in one day, he goes to a barbecue with everyone in her life plus her ex-husband.
Yeah.
That's enough, guys.
Yeah. That was problem enough.
that's enough for one person to have to deal with.
And then compared from the book to the movie, you know, in the book he wants to be a chef. In the movie he wants to be a doctor. Which I thought was I thought that was very bizarre. I was like, why are you also, like, that was another problem that didn't need to happen. Being a chef, you can go to culinary school, you can take classes, and you can be done in a shorter amount of time, and you can cook in a kitchen at any time if you want to be a chef. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't really know. I'm not a chef, but I mean, I watch TV. I watch the Food Network, and it seems like it's okay. Like, you can be a line cook, you know? You don't have to be, you can work your way up. But
well, it just makes... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to make him want to be a doctor, do you know how long it takes to go to college to become a doctor? Like, Stella can't afford him being a doctor. He can't afford to be a doctor. That is... And he doesn't live in America. It's such a weird flex all of a sudden to be like, yeah, I wanted to be a doctor, but for now I'm going to work as a chef at this other hotel. No, don't take away what he wanted and give him something bigger than he is.
Yeah, and in the book there's a little bit more from Angela saying that he's just coming to America for a green card, and these Jamaican men do it all the time. They just find an attractive woman and they get their way into America, and he wants your money. And it's, I think, sweet that, I think it makes more sense and it's sweeter to the story that he on his own is independent enough to not go, well, I'm not going to take this job because I'm going to keep sleeping with this lady all weekend and then try to get over to America. He takes a job.
Yeah.
He risks their relationship in taking this job because he wants to and he has to. Both of those things are true. And for him to actually risk that coming to America is... It shows on his part that he's interested in her more than just a fling. And it also gives them something in common where he likes creating, he likes cooking, he likes doing this thing. And then she also has this artistic side of her that has been suppressed. So it's like they both have these things that they have passions about. And then making him a doctor, it makes it feel like it could actually go more with what is expected of her to end up with a doctor than some guy who might be, you know, third line chef at a hotel or something like that. For the crowd that she's in is probably lesser than being a doctor.
Yeah.
And then it also makes it sound like maybe he was just trying to get the green card to come over here and become a doctor.
Yes, exactly. Like because he was so easy to quit his job in the film. Mm-hmm. And that bugged me so much that he would just like, and the way he says it to her too. Yeah. It's such a throwaway line that I was like, wait a minute, did you just say you quit your job? Yeah. Like, no. And then it's weird because, so when he comes to America, in the book, the lead up to it was, you know, it's kind of like that lead up to, any first date you've ever been on, you know, where there's this anticipation, there's this, did I do the right thing? But with Stella, it's not so much did I do the right thing. It's, oh my God, I sent an open-ended, like, round-trip first-class plane ticket to a guy in Jamaica. And she has to deal with that. That's on and off, like, will he or won't he show up? Like, reading the book, I was like, girl, I don't know if he's going to show up. He might have just cashed that plane ticket in and took your cash. You know, because we were both reading it in the way, like, Winston's not going to be there. He's not going to show. But in the book, it's just like, suddenly he's there. There's none of that lead up. And he's there for months.
Yeah.
When you put a timeline on something, everything is heightened. And I think that was the problem with the film, is that they kept giving open-ended situations and no actual timeline. Like, her friend's death would have hit harder if we had known she was sick and she had only a few months to live, you know?
Yeah.
And then the emotions at the funeral would have felt heightened. It would have hit harder because we knew that it was going to happen. We just didn't want it to happen.
And, you know, when I think about the book, I don't consider it just a story about a woman who it's not just like a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
It's not just a romance story. It's not just the story of a chick finding this guy. It's really her finding this like energy. And I think that the way that the movie is presented, it dumbs that down.
Yeah.
Where it really is just kind of a romance. And it's just this guy. And really, Winston he is a tool that helps her get to a good place, but he is not the good place.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's I don't know. I was just so upset with that film. I mean, there's so much that could have been done.
I'm just putting this out there into the universe, and the universe can do what it will with it. Angela Basset doesn't look any older. Maybe they can just remake it.
100%. 100%. I 100% agree with this statement. She does not look any older. She does not look any older to the point where I was like, okay, they were both in their 20s when they filmed this movie.
Well, that's the funny, and I mentioned this too. This is like in two parts. Their age difference. They don't look much different.
No, they do not. They do not look.
She is allegedly 40. I will not believe it until I see a birth certificate. She is not a day older than like 25. Yeah. So she looks amazing. He looks older than he is older than he's supposed to be, and he also just looks timeless. So you're not too sure what his age is.
No. Like legitimately, I did math. I did so much. I asked Siri so many. I was like, no, really, Siri, how old is Angela Basset? And I was like, no, like I'm being legit, Siri, here. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
She looks 20 years old.
I know.
They both look like they're in their 20s. I was like, there's no way this 20-year-old can pull off being 40.
Oh, well, I think it's funny because she doesn't look like a 40-year-old hanging out with a 20-year-old. They don't look like they have that big of a difference. So that is a little laughable to me, that part of the equation's somewhat removed. But then there is like a little bit of a battle of the sexes that happens in this situation where when a woman is with a younger man, it's a you go girl.
Yeah.
And the only people who really comment on it are Stella in her mind, who she keeps telling herself this isn't the right thing to do, and then Angela, and then the mom saying like how dare you or whatever.
Yeah.
But with guys, I feel like guys get the dirty old man look, not the you go girl look. Like there's a little bit more of a stigma on both the guy and the girl. It's like, well, why is the girl getting with him? And then even with Winston deciding to move to the States, it's like, well, what's he going to do for her? Whereas if a woman moved in with an older guy, she's not going to be asked the same questions.
No, and I mean, we can case in point, the girls next door. Holly Madison and the girls next door, they basically have kind of a similar age difference. I mean, Hugh Hefner was maybe 10, 15 years older than how Stella is supposed to be.
No, he was 80.
Oh, he was 80. So he's 20. He's 40 years. 40 years. You know what I mean? Close enough. 15. I was getting close. Shut up. But you know what I mean? Like everybody hounded these girls for living in this house with this old man. Like, you're just doing it for the money, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, yeah, Stella felt the same sort of, she fielded the same questions, but only from Angela.
Yeah.
At no point was there anything else. Like, at no point was, it's just, it is weird. Like, that, and it's, the weirdest thing is that Stella in the book always assumed that that's how she was going to be treated.
Yeah.
But she was never, ever treated that way in the book or in the movie.
Right.
I mean, the weirdest thing for me is that in the movie, they kept in the scene with Miss Thang at the bar.
Yeah.
And seeing it played out live between these two 20-year-olds, it didn't hit the same way as it did in the book because they both look so young.
They need to remake this movie. I'm sorry. They need to remake it, and it could even be, I know I say this constantly, but it could also be a miniseries. Like, you could do...
And I would watch it. I would watch it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like a 3 or 4 episode, like, miniseries. I would completely watch it.
Put it on HBO.
Yeah.
Because when they go to that nightgown disco party... tits aplenty.
Yeah, I've been to some crazy parties. I've never been to a pajama disco party.
When I read it in the book, I was like,
what?
I was like, this sounds like someone who's never been on vacation. Like, I know they do weird stuff on cruise ships, like formal night and stuff like that, but I've stayed in hotels. Like, I've never been to an all-inclusive resort, but I've stayed in hotels and I've never been invited to a pajama disco. And then, though, I like that scene better in the book because it shows off. I think that part in the book really ages Stella. I mean, yes. it aged me too. I was also just like, "Ooh, girl, get out of there." That's when Whoopi should have been like, "You in danger, girl." Because what happens at this disco is someone gets on the mic and tells everyone, "If you feel comfortable, just take it off. Take it off." And everyone just starts stripping down. There are penises, there are boobies. There's that one guy who's wearing that thong and he does that dance to Stella in the movie. I was like, what is happening? In the book, Winston has to leave because they tell him he's not in his he's not in his PJs. And then everyone starts getting naked and Stella's like, okay, peace out, bye, and she leaves. In the movie though, she is there all night dancing with Winston, and then all of a sudden it is every shape and size of boobie comes out. Everyone is topless all of a sudden.
There is this like funny line that the way it's said, it's not supposed to be weird or creepy, but what Whoopi Goldberg says is that she watched them dance for 2 hours. And she says it like, I watched you guys dance for 2 hours. And she said it like it's a positive thing. But I'm like, wait, you did what?
Yeah, it was like, why weren't you dancing?
If I'm dancing and you're there and I start dancing with some guy and you're like, I watched you guys for 2 hours, I'd be like, whoa, Nikki.
I would say it just like that too. I wouldn't say it like Whoopi said it, where it was like cute. I'd come up and whisper it in your ear while you're sleeping. I watched you dance for 2 hours.
The other thing that's so sad about the movie scene is that I think that Stella, and this is also where I like related to Stella a little bit, because I feel like when Carlos and I first started, I was very standoffish because I was like, what? This is too good to be true. So I was like kind of standoffish, and she's very standoffish with Winston in the book. And really, you only get that in that disco scene when she like turns around and then he starts dancing up behind her.
Oh, yeah.
And then she like looks at him and like pushes him away. That's really the only time you get that.
Yeah, she's never ever weary or nervous around him after that point,
or at least not to the extent that she is in the book.
Yeah I wish there was just a little bit more questioning on Stella's part from the book that made it into the movie. Voiceover can do a lot, people, because Stella is, I think I can't relate to Angela Basset as Stella because someone that gorgeous could never have, and I know this is a common misconception that gorgeous people don't have problems, but she's like, why would he be interested in me? Girl, I can give you like 100 reasons why he's gonna be interested in you. Look at you. But Stella in the book, I think it's easier to relate to Stella in the book than it is Stella in the movie during those parts.
What it is is that you can be beautiful Angela Basset. Yeah. But I think that to move it from book to screen, you have to take some of that anxiety and low self-esteem that she has in her head about her age, and you have to kind of morph it into something else because you're not going to be able to get it the same way. So if the change occurs, it should be like maybe she has to get a new wardrobe, or you make a bigger deal about her putting the braids in her hair. You have her go from like in the office, she's constantly wearing these 90s power suits and she's got like a wig on, and then she's like, I'm gonna go and buy a bathing suit for the first time in 20 years. I'm gonna change my hair. I want it to look natural. I'm going to show my legs. I haven't shown my legs. I've got stretch marks on my legs. Like there should be maybe a couple scenes, like a fun little montage scene at the beginning when maybe she's like with Regina King and she goes shopping ahead, like, and that's not something that happens in the book. I'm not saying it happens in the book. I'm just saying like in order to relate it to a movie and change it for the movie audience, that's like how you would try to fix that.
I think and I think that would have been really helpful. And I think it would have humanized Stella a lot more. Because some of the stuff in the movie, like, you're just, I don't know, they're just too pretty. And I don't know, I can't ever see this Stella in the movie feeling the way the Stella in the book did.
I did want to mention one thing that she wears in the movie.
Tell me.
When they are at dinner at the end and they have their little argument, she looks like the 90s version of the Padme dress in Attack of the Clones. It's this, like, really sexy, like, black leather, like, bustier kind of dress, but hers has straps. And then she's got the black beaded choker. It's very Padme.
It is. And she looks gorgeous.
Of course she does. It's probably, like, the only outfit that she wore that I was like, ooh, that's a very nice outfit. And then I did laugh during that argument because she complains that all he wants to do is watch the Disney Channel and eat bowls of cereal. Yeah. And I'm like, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah. I was like, hi, Stella. Have you met me and my husband?
Hi. Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
And yeah, my husband. Yeah. What we do.
Hi, the four of us are really into those things. So if Winston wants to cook us some food, we'd be down for that.
I have an extra box of Monster cereal on top of my refrigerator, and I keep looking at it. Like, maybe I'll just get into it now.
Do it. I thought that was, and it was funny to me because both the film and the book are very topical about the time period that they are. Mm-hmm. You know, like, in the book, she goes to see, she sees Batman. Yeah. She hates it. She hated it. I was like, girl, how could you hate this movie? I love it. Like, you have no taste sometimes, Stella. Deal with it. But then, like, in the movie, Winston checks out Booty Call and The Lion King. And I was like, that sounds like a funny thing.
And there is a Lion King joke in the movie because she like refers to him as Lion King.
Yeah,
that made me laugh too.
It was just fun. Like those little bits and pieces there, I thought were fun. Like in the book, there's a lot of songs.
There is, and that's yet another thing that I felt from Waiting to Exhale, because there's this. She mentions a lot of pop culture things between artists, books, movies, musicians. And I find myself, like, writing them down. Like, oh, this is something I have to look up later.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say my favorite part of the book was when she called her own self out.
What? Oh, yeah.
What she's talking about. She's like, I should read that McMillan book. I was like, that is... I mean, you don't have to pay to use that. That's yourself. You did it. Congratulations. Like, I thought that was funny to the point where I wrote it down. I was like, haha, got you, girl. McMillan is such an interesting individual. And I guess now that we talked about the book and the movie. Oh, and one minor thing, everybody. Do not listen to the audiobook for this.
You can't.
Please, you have to read it because I completely forgot. Christina had this situation with Waiting to Exhale. I completely forgot that happened to you.
I almost inadvertently completely ruined our Waiting to Exhale recording because I wanted to get the audiobook due to running out of time, and I was about to buy it before I realized that it was an extreme abridged version. So it was cut down to just shreds. And luckily I figured that out because had I not, that episode would have been fucked. So it turns out this must be a McMillan thing. Maybe she really just wants people to read like traditional.
Did she also, do you recall with Waiting to Exhale, was she also the reader for that one?
No, I don't. I don't remember.
Because she's the reader for How Stella Got Her Groove Back, the audiobook. Yeah. And for me, I wanted to, I've been working on a lot of stuff at work and I was like, I need something to listen to while I'm working. And I was really hoping to be able to listen to the book so that I could go back to it before, and read at night like I usually do. And I got to the part where I was at and I was like, this is wrong. No, what? Huh? And I was like, oh, great, cool. I wasted one of my Audible credits on something I'm never going to finish.
Wait a minute. Now I have a question. When you do Audible, but you're reading on a device, does it sync up where you're reading?
No, I had to find it myself.
Oh, geez,
and that
that's
was
a lot
even
of work.
that was even more confusing because there aren't actual real chapters to the book.
No.
It's like the chapters, I'll use that term loosely, are like the first couple of lines at the start of each chapter. Whereas this audiobook had 4 chapters that were about like 45 minutes long each. I was like, am I reading really slow?
So what is that, like 2 hours?
Happening? Maybe.
Yeah, this is not a 2-hour book. This is more like
it's like
probably
3 days.
5 or 6.
It took me like 3 days to get through this.
Well, just thinking of like audiobook time, this is not a 2-hour book.
No, it is not. It is not. Like I was not happy with myself.
No.
Because it would have taken me less time to read the book if I could listen to it part way during the day and then start reading it again at night. But that's fine. Just a warning for everyone. Don't cheat yourself. Get the book.
Listen to my mistakes.
Yeah. Learn from me.
I'm sending you a photo right now, and I will add it to our Instagram once it's up there. Hopefully it goes through. Did you notice the bad Photoshop that they did in the movie when they go to Ty Diggs' house? And she picks up the photo of him allegedly as a child, and it's just Tay Diggs as an adult holding a soccer ball, and then they did like some sort of bad Photoshop on his legs to make it look smaller.
His legs look so weird. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Bizarre. It's so bad. Oh my god.
And then the other thing that I thought that was funny was in the movie you see her when she's talking to, I think it's when she's talking to her sister, she goes to pour herself peach iced tea, and she pours and nothing comes out, and then she drinks out of the glass. There's nothing in the glass. And then in the movie theater, he's got Twizzlers, and he's eating Twizzlers, but he's not eating Twizzlers. He's like rubbing them around his mouth, not taking a bite.
No, continuity was not a thing that people were looking for in this movie.
No.
This is like in Twilight when she pours herself that glass of water. It's a mess. So I guess it's time to talk about Terry McMillan's real life.
Oof.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, this was semi-autobiographical because Terry McMillan did go on a trip to Jamaica where she fell in love with a man named Jonathan Plummer. And there was, it's an age difference. And because I think she was like late 40s and he was early 20s, just like in the book. Mm-hmm. They got married. And I think they got married right around the time the movie came out, from my research. My research on this subject matter. And then in 2004, Jonathan Miller told Terry McMillan that he was gay.
Yeah.
He essentially only married her so he could leave Jamaica and gain American citizenship.
Which he contested, saying that that's not what happened.
I feel honestly, I'm gonna side on the fact that that's exactly what happened.
I know. It's, and I think that some of it, when you know that and you read the book, I think she knew it too, because all of the comments in the book about them being concerned that he only wanted a green card, it's a lot. Like that's mentioned quite a bit. And I just wonder if that was actually going on in her head at the time, but she didn't want to really voice it to herself, but it still ended up in the book.
It is extremely bizarre because they went on the Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah.
And I watched both clips. So they go on Oprah twice. Oprah is like
I watched it when it came out. I remember watching it in my living room.
It is insane. Terry McMillan, first of all, she looks so young. She looks gorgeous. But she has her head back the whole time. Her eyes, if her eyes could have rolled back any farther in her head, I swear. And she was livid. You could literally see her skin crawl while he is out there. And she's saying all this stuff like, oh my God, there's this great line where she says, Because Oprah asks her, did he cheat on you while you guys were married?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, he said he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Oprah's like, okay, well, so I guess you don't believe him. And she was like, of course I don't believe him. That's like saying you're an alcoholic, but you ain't never had any alcohol. And I was like, oh, girl. And then when he finally comes out to defend himself, oh my God, Oprah goes to the jugular on him because he comes out and he basically says that he never lied about his sexuality. You know, when he met Terry, he was straight. He was heterosexual. He cared for her. It wasn't until about like 2 years into the marriage that he felt like he might be, and then came out as gay. And Oprah's like, well, did you do anything that might have compromised your marriage? And he's like, well, no. And Oprah's like, I didn't ask if you used a condom. I'm asking if you cheated on her. I was like, holy crap, Oprah! I know that McMillan's your girl, but oh, dang, Oprah. Yeah, she did not let him loose.
It's a shame because I think that it's really complicated. Like, it's not just a divorce.
Yeah.
It's a very public divorce. He is gay, and it's like you don't want to shame someone for being who they are, but there is the question of the motive in the relationship. Yeah. And then, like, this is the thing that I think a lot of people kind of put aside, like, when someone finds himself, that's always something to be congratulated. However, it's like, if you cheated on someone, you still cheated on someone. Yeah. Even if you found yourself, congratulations, that doesn't mean you didn't hurt someone. So if you cheated, you don't get an out just because you found yourself. Yeah. You still hurt someone, you still broke something in that relationship. And that's something that you have to kind of face and figure out what that means. But then for Terry McMillan, who wrote Waiting to Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, it's another humiliation. She actually has a character in Waiting to Exhale that's gay, and a woman that has to deal with that, and then have the Stella character, and it kind of blew up in her face in a very public way.
Yeah. I will say the thing that upset me the most about this is, and I agree, finding yourself at any point in your life, being able to openly admit to yourself your true feelings is beautiful. But to blame an outside source is not. And what he claims on the Oprah Winfrey show, don't laugh. I used to love watching Oprah. What he claims on the Oprah Winfrey show, especially when she had that I Am Every Woman theme song. Oh my God. Anyways, that's for our other podcast, Talking Oprah.
Talking Oprah.
He said that, growing up in Jamaica, culturally, it's denounced to be, to be gay. It's a sin. It's bad. It's all of these things. So he never knew anyone who was gay. He was not gay, blah, blah, blah. And Oprah even says to him, like, listen, I know your culture. Like, there's a difference between feeling like you can't be who you are and hiding, like, feeling like you can't be that person and suddenly being that person. And Oprah's like, I know a lot of, gay people who tell me all the time they knew when they were like 11, they knew when they were 12. They always knew at an early stage. You're telling me that you woke up one morning and suddenly you were gay. And it was like, once again, God, Oprah, going for the jugular on this situation. But it is true. It is a little weird the way both of them, both Jonathan and Terry, talk about how he just said it one night. He just came out and said, I'm gay.
I have not watched the Oprah clip since it came out.
Yeah.
But didn't she say that they basically found not a happy place, but somewhat reconciled, and weren't they like in a bubble bath together or something?
Oh, that's the second time they come back. The first time they come back, they basically publicly, so they're on Oprah's show twice. And the first time they're on Oprah's show is basically when Terry McMillan is like, my marriage is broken because my husband is gay. And it is straight up out the gate, like, what is going, like, that was the first appearance on the show, was to admit to the world that she was getting a divorce because her husband, lied to her for years about who he truly was. And then they came back in like 2015 and talked about how they've come to a semi-agreement. They're not friends, but they can be amicable to each other.
Yeah.
No. This should have been a book. This sounds like the book I want to read. Like, I would devour this. This needs to be the new movie.
Yeah, yeah.
This is how Stella got her group back should start.
Isn't Grace and Frankie like two women whose partners end up being gay?
Yeah, and their partners end up dating each other.
Well, then maybe we should watch that. Is that a book?
I wish. But it's like, I feel bad about this situation because it kind of is mirroring everything that was said, that Stella was saying to herself and that Angela was saying to Stella in the book.
There's two ways to look at it. There is definitely a sad way where you're all hype about this beautiful relationship and romance in the book, and then that so easily gets layered on, almost like in school when you see the human body and you just see bones and then muscles and then flesh. It's like, it's easy to just layer Stella's story with the real life McMillan story. But if you do compartmentalize it, even if you don't compartmentalize it, even if you do think of it as this relationship didn't work and perhaps there was like a lying in there, there's still kind of something beautiful about falling in love and being in that crazy, I'm in love and I'm doing things and I'm throwing caution in the wind and I'm just going to do it. And when she says okay at the end to getting married to him, I kind of don't care. I kind of don't care even if it ended up not being a happy story at the end, because this part of it is beautiful. And all of us have experienced, or hopefully all of us have experienced, that just like crazy in love beginning, like that crazy feeling that you get. And holding on to that little bit of it is important. But like that beautiful part when you fall in love with someone is in this book. And I still like it.
I agree. I guess it's time to ask you, Christina, would you recommend this?
Yes, I would recommend the book. I would not recommend the movie, except for maybe an Angela Basset fan.
Unless you want to see Tay Diggs' butt.
Oh, yeah. You get to see his butt.
Yeah, you get to see his butt.
I didn't think we were going to get to see the butt, but we did.
I didn't think we were going to see the butt either. I mean, we saw a lot of boobs earlier. I thought they wasted their body budget at the beginning of the film. Nope. We got full butt, everybody. Yeah. Full butt in a shower.
Yeah, so if that's what you need, then sure. Yeah. I would recommend it, but I would recommend the book, but not really the movie.
Same. I think the book was a lot stronger.
Well, I think we already answered it, but which is better, the book or the movie?
Book. The crowd goes crazy. Book.
We want book. Yeah, the book is really good. The book is better, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. And this is an interesting part of the podcast now. For those of you who are, I'm sorry, I'm talking to the crowd, all the ones who wanted the book, you guys. Book. You guys, shh, I'm recording a podcast.
We already agreed the book is better, guys.
Yeah, come on, shh. No angry mobs here. For those of you who are new to the podcast and just joining this year, at this point, this is where we rank the books by year. Guess what, everybody?
Hold on. We don't rank the books by year. We rank it by...
Oh, yeah. We do a yearly ranking. So we'll do a whole 2022 book ranking. Because if we ranked them by year, I mean, I guess... Whenever we decide to do, I don't know, the Bible, that's the last of the list, right?
Yeah, we some of the things that we look at are if it was a good adaptation, how good the book is, how good the movie is. So there's a few different things we take into consideration.
Yeah, and another one, like, if we would ever read the book or watch the movie again.
Yes.
And it's safe to say that right now, this is number one. Congratulations, you're number one.
Woo, you did it.
And that leads us to the next part, Christina.
I'm so excited about the next one.
This year is going to be fun. I think this year's book list, there's something for everyone. We previously struggled a lot with finding female and male authors. Mm-hmm. And I think that this year we just were like, listen, these are the books we want to do.
Yeah.
We don't care. We don't care. So, Christina, do you want to tell the people at home what's coming up next?
Yes. So next time we are going to look at the old fairy tale Cinderella in comparison to Ever After.
I mean, I tried to get Christina to do the Amazon Cinderella.
Fuck that shit. You cannot. You were the one. You were the one that sent me the video of
James Corden.
The mice. Yeah, of James Corden with the mice head, and it has haunted me ever since you showed me that. Yep. And I love me a bad movie, so I'm definitely gonna watch it, but I just don't know if I can do it right now.
That's me with Don't Look Up. I'm not emotionally stable enough for that, so
you need to watch Don't Look Up, but you definitely need to watch it in like a safe space because it brings out all of those anxieties that we've been going through.
Like padded walls. What do you mean? I'll watch Don't Look Up when you watch the new Cinderella.
Oh, so we're gonna do Bad Mental Health Day?
Yes. Hey girl, I hear you're struggling. You know what'll make it worse?
Yeah, we're not doing the Amazon one. We're going to do Ever After, and I always think it's fun when we do like something old and like a newer taking of it. So it's gonna be a good one.
I'm excited because honestly, spoiler alert, everybody, Christina and I love this movie. Love this movie.
Yeah.
I can't say I will not show up with a fake British accent and angel wings, so...
I want angel wings.
I want it.
Or butterfly wings. I want wings.
Just breathe.
I know.
I'm so excited. Oh my God.
Carlos goes to put on his jeans, and there's like a tight white pants with a cod piece in it, and he's like, what the fuck is this? Just put it on.
It's romance. See, Carlos dresses like that. I'm going to put Jesse in a big brown robe and call him Leonardo da Vinci.
He's like, why do I have to be Leonardo da Vinci? He gets to be Dougray Scott.
Yeah, where are my boat shoes?
Yeah, if you get stuck being Da Vinci, you better get the boat shoes.
Yeah. Listen, if you're not making boat shoes, you're not making anything.
Well, I'm glad that this one was a better start to this new year. Yeah. I think we've got a good one to start the new year. That means everything else has to be consistent, right?
Yeah, I think that this is a good theme because I definitely think that this is a year we all get our groove back. Yeah. Whatever your groove may be it a new job, a new relationship, taking a vacation to Jamaica, whatever groove you put out there, and it could be a monthly groove, I think you're going to find it. Stella did. You can too.
Stella, just like us, we may have misplaced the groove. We found the groove. It is an adequate groove. We have the groove, and we are going to continue with the groove.
You know what? I think this year we need to find the groove in every book. I think that's what we need to do. In every book and movie, I think we need to carry over. We spent all of last year comparing every book to Eat, Pray, Love. Why not? I think we need to find the groove in everything.
Then we might have to cancel some of these that we have talked about for this year because they definitely don't have groove.
They don't have groove. Some of them are real sad. What's the groove in this one? I don't want to talk about it.
I know the one that we're talking about for our anniversary, definitely, I don't think that one's got a groove.
I don't know. It could have a groove. We just haven't found it yet. So,
it's up to us.
2022, everyone find your groove. Just find it. You dropped it. Here's your groove. I think this groove belongs to you.
Hi, I know that you just left, but I found this groove on the floor. And
hey, I just met you. This is crazy. I found your groove.
Apple needs to have a GPS Find My Groove app.
Yes. Listen, Christina, I think this year you're going to find your groove.
Oh, thank you. You too. I think we're all going to get it.
Yeah. Let's do it. But yeah, that's it, everybody.
All right, everybody. Well, here's to finding our groove.
We're going to do it. Yeah. All right. Until next time. Oh, wait. Before we go, many thanks to our future Leonardo da Vinci, Jesse.
Yes, Jesse. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Listen, he did some work on this one.
He definitely did. Yeah.
He helped us fix our groove.
Quite literally.
And once again, so many thanks to Christina. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah. If McMillan writes good friendships, then she must have written us, because Aww. I am so happy to speak with you, and I'm glad that on a park bench, and I'm glad that we are starting yet another year on this journey together.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this year. Let's do that park bench. So, okay, until next time, everybody. Bye.
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 Goodbye.